Welcome, everyone. Hopefully, y'all are here for Intermediate Vue with Front Masters. My name is Ben Hong. I'm on the Vue core team, and I actually recently joined the Angular team as well. So do a lot of things for the web and open source. And so primarily, I get to do a lot of docs work, and then basically just helping to make the web technology more accessible to everyone out there so that everyone can keep building awesome things on the web. As far as prerequisites for this course, basically, we expect that you've taken some sort of Vue 3 fundamentals. So if you haven't, this is your kind of first foray into it, we have a Vue 3 fundamentals workshop that I've taught before. And so I also expect that you have a basic understanding of Composition API. This workshop really is about diving more in depth into it and what we can do with it. And so as a result, also we'll be doing a lot with script setup. So if you're new to that, don't worry about it. It's basically just all Composition API as opposed to some options, some Composition API, essentially all it is. Once we dive into it, you'll get right into it. And then I say this with the utmost, like in quotes, like basic understanding of TypeScript in the sense that there is TypeScript in the code that you'll see, but we're not doing heavy like type creation or anything. It's just there to help with some of the auto completion type inferences, that kind of thing. So fear not if you see the TypeScript in there, that's not what this course is focused on. So as far as setup goes, for those in the chat and those here, hopefully you've had a chance to check out the repo on github.com. So it's under github.com/benkozen/intermediate-vue.git. And if you go ahead and clone that down, basically that's where we'll be doing all our exercises. So as you see the main branch right there, you can go ahead and npm install, and that should basically get you up and running. And then basically going forward, I'll be checking out branches as we go through. So you have different stopping points and checkpoints for you to kind of check back and go over different things. As far as the things we're going to cover, we're going to focus on 4 primary topics today. And so we'll start off with components, and then we'll be looking at composables and really diving deep into that, because I think this is where a lot of the Vue ecosystem is currently kind of moving towards. So I want to get everyone very familiar with that. And then we'll have a section later on routing, as well as some of the sort of upcoming movements as far as where that's going from like an enterprise perspective, and as well as kind of taking a deeper dive into state management, where it's at, especially in a composition kind of world. Where are we with that, and what do we recommend as far as working with it? Okay, so the question is, what are we building? Well, we're going to be building a to-do app. Just kidding. This is not an intro class. We've all been bored by the to-do app and done it way too many times. And so this is an intermediate course, which means we're going to be dropping you into, well, essentially a legacy code base. So just to give you a little bit of a tour of what you have. So we have essentially, as far as the structure goes, we have our front-end app inside of the app folder. So this is your standard Vue 3 scaffolded with Vue 3 app. And then there's a back-end, in quotes I put, because it's really just a JSON file. And we're leveraging a library, if you haven't heard of it before, called JSON Server. And it basically fakes an API REST point for a JSON file locally. So that's really all it is, nothing fancy. So nothing's being sent to the cloud. Everything's just being done locally. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the enterprise app that y'all are going to be walking into. And so it's called Point of View, and it's your own personal productivity dashboard. And so overall, you can see here, this is like we got our home page, and then you can choose your focus in terms of like the things that you're intending to do. And we have like basically you see your tasks here. You can filter it down. We can even look at the planner as far as like what's been planned for what week. You can switch the different weeks, look at it in detail. It gives you some metrics on like things that you've planned, what you've actually spent time on. And there's even a reflection page to kind of see how has your completion rate been along with your time efficiency. And overall, it looks pretty good, but I'm not going to lie, it's pretty buggy. Some of the features are missing that you would expect to be there. And AI may or may not have been involved in coding some of the tickets. And so inside you'll see some of these coding practices don't look quite right. And so in some ways it's kind of your modern day enterprise app. So as far as this goes, basically the key thing I want to emphasize here is that you're walking into a code base that is already, there's opportunities for improvement, lots of it. So do not take what you see in there as gospel. It's like, oh, that pattern, I should copy that. Like we're not at that point. So just to reiterate, so what you're working on is you've inherited a legacy code base. And while it does work as far as some of the major features, it is far from perfect. And we're here to kind of improve it. So this is a quote when I was talking with David at his talk. And I love this because it says, LLMs weren't trained on good code. They were trained on your code. And I thought that was a great quote because a lot of times, as we know, we live in a world where we have AI generated code and it's being injected in. But as as we all keep playing around, you'll notice that sometimes it just does things that does not make sense. Like, for example, I think at one point it was trying to inject router functions so that it could add a button to navigate to another page. And that is just a big no-no, right? It's a button element. We have anchor tags for a reason, but for some reason the LLMs have learned that like, oh, like a lot of people do this, so I'm gonna do this too. And so it's an interesting state that we're in right now. But so as a result, I just thought this was kind of a funny quip by David. So as far as participation tips for this workshop, first off, don't be afraid to deep dive in the code. Again, this workshop is about getting hands-on experience with the techniques and the patterns that we're talking about. So the best way to get experience with that is obviously to go in there, try stuff out. And so I have dedicated exercises for different things we'll be trying to solve together. But I left a lot of different things to explore so that you can go and try out different things and basically enhance the code as you see fit.